Agreed. Austin says, "Hey, what type of schema would you recommend on city pages that do not have separate GMBs? Would you actually create citations or profiles for these city pages?" Well, I don't know if it's just a page that's highlighting a city. Like, for example, if you've only got one location, but and I'm just assuming that this is what you're talking about because you say you don't have separate GMBs. It's probably a business that is targeting multiple locations, but it might only have one physical location, right? Well, that's perfectly fine. You would want to use organization or corporation type markup, schema markup, which that can go site wide or global, right? And in that case, I don't know that I would do individual. I don't know that you can even do local schema unless it has its own physical location that's corresponding with the location that you're trying to mark up. If that makes sense, because I've never done that. But organization or corporation markup could be something that you put on the site wide for the brand. Essentially, that's brand markup, right? There's two different types. There's the organization, there's corporation. Just go figure out which one's the better option for you. And then I would put that site wide. As far as what you could do on the city pages, with the different types of markup that are available now, like article markup, image markup, video markup, there's all those things that you could do on the pages to try to squeeze more power out of them without it requiring local business markup, which requires a physical location, right? Local business markup has to have an address associated with it, right? And that's so again, you don't want to use local. You can't really use local markup on individual city pages unless they have their own, and I'm using air quotes, but physical location. Does that make sense? So I would just go stick with organization or corporation markup for the brand that could be site wide, like that could be a global type of schema markup, and then you could do content markup with different elements of the page could be marked up to help try to squeeze more power out of it. As far as citations, no. Once again, you don't really create citations unless something has a physical location, right? At least not the way that we talk about citations when it comes to local stuff. What you can create co-citation, that's different, but we're not going to get into that right now. But what I'm saying is, and he says, by the way, I'm loving the Press Advantage Unlimited plan you all turned me on to last month. Well, that's great. And so here's the thing. You would only need one brand page, right? Let's just say that, and again, I'm just making an assumption here, that you've got a brand that you're trying to promote. It has, let's just say, one physical location, but you're trying to promote multiple locations or cities to where you're getting traction in SEO for terms that are associated with those location modifiers, right? That's what I'm assuming you're trying to do. So what you can do is, again, go back and watch the PR stacking webinar that Marco and I did last week, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I talk about the PR silo stack, right? And so you would want to silo your website correctly, and then you can start using your Press Advantage Unlimited plan that you're glad that you got, and I'm glad you got it as well, to start using press releases in the same way that you would silo your website. It's called theme mirroring, right? You mirror the silo structure from your website using press releases, and also do it with the Drive Stack. Same thing with the folder and file structure within your Drive Stack and your Google site, right? You want to mirror all of that together and then use press releases as a great strategy for link building to kind of help push the power of all that. And you can string those together to where you can create PR silos when you only need one organization page, right? One brand page for that. So yeah, I wouldn't try to create multiple brand pages that for different locations, because you don't actually have a physical location for those. So you wouldn't want like citations because citations would, mean that you're going to have a physical address or at least a city state zip. And I wouldn't do that. I would just go with one brand page and then create silo structure and use that to kind of push into those other areas, right?
Yes. As far as the schema, there is the city and place schema. Schema can get ridiculous when you start looking into it. But there's also when you do city and place schema, you could do service, you could do product and brand. You can do, man, I was just looking at this the other day. You could do area served. If there's departments, you can do departments. You could do legal names. You could do location schema. Oh, no, sorry, you can't do location because that requires either a place or a postal address. So that's where you have to be really careful with this. But there's tons of ways where you can mark up your city page without having to go with location.
Yeah,